Welcome back to the Where's Home Show. It's episode 2. First episode did great. It was fun to record. It was awesome. But this show is going to be a little different as there hasn't been any games yet. Preseason started this week. We'll go over the game of the week, the Twitter poll we put out, or X poll, whatever you want to call it. We put that out last week. It was up for 2 days, and then we came out with a winner. So we'll go over that and what's expected for the game of the week. We'll also go over the new districts that FHSA put out. The Me Engage will also go over what's the difference of travel ball in high school, and we'll say what we prefer more. We'll also go over the LBC, the local baseball classic that I ran in June in the summer. And we'll also might talk a little about the Jaguars if we got some time. And then we'll be joined in here with Julian Gonzalez. He's a head coach somewhere in the Twins organization. He'll tell us more about that and his career he's been on. But anyways, I'm joined in here with my buddy Gage Dimby, co-host of the Spring. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Glad to be back for episode 2.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll just start off with the week 1 game of the week and kind of what's expected for game of the week. We put out the poll as we said earlier. Creekside versus Providence. Number 5 Creekside we put out for the rankings. Number 4 Providence. 6:30 p.m. on February 11th. I think this is going to be a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some guys to notice. Matthew Bisham, the right-handed pitcher. Michael Bisham pitches as well. Plays outfield. Connor Balazic, great catcher, great behind the plate, good bat. Nick Romeyu. Last episode we talked about he was a fly lure commit, but we saw after we recorded that he decommitted. Now he's at Gulf Coast State College. And now we got some new guys over there at Providence. We got Luke Manderson, great pitcher, great outfielder, great infielder, everything, great hitter. Landis Pickett. We got Preston Machicardi, which is an FSU commit, and then Ryan Walls, Old Miss commit. Tell us a little about this matchup. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's going to be a fun game. Game number 1, so it should be exciting. I know we're going to be ready to go out there and watch. And we'll both be out there this week, but it might not always look like that.
For sure.
For you guys who don't know, for game of the week, what we're going to do is I'll be out there behind home plate recording the game, so you'll be able to watch edited full version of the game. We'll have all the exciting moments in there. And then when Chandler's available, when he's not playing, he'll be there taking pictures that all the players will be able to contact him and get a hold of. And when he's not there, someone else will also be out there taking pictures in his place. So it's just fun stuff. And then when we come back on the show after we go to the game, we'll give a little breakdown on here as well, talk about the game and stuff. Maybe pull up a few clips of the game.
Yep.
So.
We'll have a player of the game. Me and Gage will figure that right after the game when the stats come out. We'll figure out a player of the game. Hopefully we have the head coach on of the winner of this team, which will be Wednesday morning. Not sure their schedules, but we'll try to figure that out. And it's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be real fun.
And I don't know where you guys voted at for the game of the week, but I voted for this one, so I was excited to get to go to this game.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just some other games going on. We got Bowls for St. John's, February 10th. That's always a good one. Bishop Kenny versus Oakley, February 11th, and Bartram versus Beachside, February 11th. Those were the 4 on the poll, and this one kind of beat it by a big time.
Good way to start the spring.
For sure.
Yeah.
The goal is, the game of the week, maybe we can get out to, the home field and maybe do a show out there in the morning or something. That's the goal. Maybe 1 or 2 this year, but we'll try to figure that out. Anyways, we'll go over the new district. It's kind of just a little rapid fire. There it is up on the screen. FHSA did move some people up, some people the same, some people down. I'll just go over it. 7A District 1, we got Atlantic Coast, Creekside, and Sandalwood. 6A District 2, Bartram Trail, Uholtz, Forest, Oakleaf, and Tocoi Creek. And 6A District 3, we got First Coast, Fletcher, Mandarin, and Nice. And we got 5A District 3, Columbia, Fleming Island, Middleburg, Ridgeview. And then we got 5A District 4, Beachside, Inglewood, Orange Park, Ponte Vedra. 4A District 3, Baker County, Clay, Ed White, Riverside, and Westside. Then we got 4A District 4, which is Bishop Kenny, Menendez, St. Augustine, Terra Parker, and Yulee. 3A District 3, Baldwin, Paxson, Stanton, Swanee, and Wolfson. 3A District 4, we got Andrew Jackson, Fernandina Beach, Rains, Ribault, and West Nassau. We got 2A District 3 is Bishop Snyder, Bowles, Episcopal, Global Outreach, Providence, and Trinity Christian. 1A District 3, we got Covenant School, Eaglesview, Harvest Community, Parsons Christian, Seacoast Christian. And then we got the last one, 1A District 4, Christ Church, First Coast Christian, St. John's Country Day, and St. Joseph's. And then we got University Christian. Just taking a look at these districts, what do you think the toughest district is? If there is a toughest district, what district do you think it is?
I'm gonna pull the district screen back up real quick,
All right.
so they can see. I think 2A District 3, right there with Snyder, Bowles, Trinity, Providence, Episcopal. That's going to be a pretty tough division.
Yep.
And then 6A District 2 also with Bartram, Buchholz, Tocoi, and Oakleaf. I think that's also going to be a pretty tough division. Just looking at it,
Yeah.
Bunch of teams that should be competitive in there.
For sure. I think there's some teams out there right now that are going to be better than people expect.
Of course, always.
Always like that. We got those teams that are scrappy. They come out with these big wins and stuff like that. It's always fun to see who that team is every year.
Yep.
And there always is a couple every year. Anyways, we'll talk a little about the difference of travel ball in high school. Tell me what you think the difference is of travel ball in high school.
I think it's a lot to do with like where you want to be as a player. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but with travel ball, I feel like it's more of an individual
Yeah,
game.
for sure.
Like a lot of people, if you're playing travel ball, you want to go to events. You want to get ranked somewhere.
Yep.
You want to get scouted. You want to go to these big events, play on a good team to where not only yourself could have a good name or good reputation, but the players around you, you want them to be bigger names too.
For sure.
Be looking at so you can have more eyes around your team. But when you play high school baseball, I really do think it's just about winning. A lot of the time, you won't have as many coaches because it's their season too at the same time, so they won't be able to come out there and look at you, scout, or they're gonna keep up with you if they're interested and see how you're doing maybe.
For sure.
But like being at these travel ball baseball tournaments, especially the bigger ones, the World Classics and stuff.
Yeah.
There's gonna be tons of scouts there, and you just want to basically hope you get a home run in, or hope you
have a great game or something.
Throw the ball hard, strike some kids out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I agree with you, Jay. Travel ball is kind of individual. You play for yourself. You're trying to get to the next level. Show yourself to the scouts. But it's also like, it's fun.
Yeah, it
is. Sometimes it depends on what team you're on. You meet someone new every weekend. If you're picking up every weekend, that's the fun part. You're spending, the hotels, those are always fun with your buddies, going out to eat after or whatever. So there's kind of pros and cons to both. Travel ball is fun, but high school ball is.
What do you prefer
awesome.
And why?
I say high school ball.
Yeah.
Because you're with those guys every day. You got practice every day, Monday to Saturday most teams. And you're kind of competing for something. You're competing for your school, the name on the front of your jersey. You're competing for your teachers, your coaches, everything involved with the school. I think it's fun. The bus rides, just being with those guys every day, you build a relationship, a long-term relationship. Like, you remember this the rest of your life. You won't really remember those, Saturday, Sunday travel ball tournament you're going to have in Sanford. You're not going to really remember that championship you had. But you're going to remember in high school state championship, Final Four playoff game or something like that. So I do prefer high school more just because, you have a better relationship with those players.
Mm-hmm.
Go to school with each other, even though I don't. I'm homeschooled. But anyways, you get the point. You're with those guys every day, and, I think it's great. And,
I would back you up on that. I think high school baseball was more fun for me.
Yeah.
Especially, I think like competing for a state championship holds more value than anything you can win at a travel tournament. Although there are cool in some tournaments there. They're big tournaments still, and winning them are a big deal. But I think just if you could compare the two, I think a state champion is far better. And I think there's fewer state champions than there's so many travel ball tournaments now that
everyone wins.
Yeah, if you're on a top team, there's a good chance you're going to win a big tournament in the
For
summer.
Sure.
And as state champions, it's a lot different.
For sure. But anyways, travel ball. I have met some of my best friends. Playing travel ball. I've played since when I started playing in the rec ball at 3 years old. It's actually how we met.
Yep.
You played with my brother. I was like, what, 2.5 years old, and you're like 4. We were playing on the same team, and I was probably about this high.
A nugget.
Yeah, the jersey was bigger than me. But, it was fun. You create the best relationships. Then.
They're awesome. I think a lot of the times coaches too, when you play travel ball, people probably enjoy their travel ball coaches sometimes more than their high school coaches.
Yeah.
Just because the environment, it's more relaxed too. Mm-hmm. The game.
And everyone's gonna get a chance in travel ball.
Yeah.
In high school, you want to have your best 9 out there. The best 9 in the lineup. And travel ball, you got 2 or 3 games a day. Yeah. You could sneak someone in and out of there. Sometimes you don't play the greatest teams in seeding games, depending if your team's good. But you'll play in travel ball.
Yeah, just winning means a lot more in high school baseball than it does in travel ball. That's where I think the main difference is. A game that you win in high school baseball is going to impact your whole outcome of the season. Your max prep rankings are really important. So winning every game is very important in travel ball. If you go 0-3 in a tournament or 0-4 in a tournament, it really doesn't matter that much.
You got a new tournament next week.
Clean slate.
So that's my thoughts. I like high school better. You like high school better.
I know a lot of people will probably
agree with that.
Yeah, and then there'll be the people out there that like travel ball better. It might just be because of the environment they're at high school, they don't enjoy it, or maybe their teams aren't as competitive at high school as they are at travel ball. So it's kind of just like, I just want to play baseball in the spring, so I'm out here. But you never know. Speaking
of travel ball, the big thing in 12U is Cooperstown. I know you went to Cooperstown. You went with my brother. I went with you guys. But, the class of 2026, my age, that was the COVID year. Tell us a little about, your Cooperstown experience. I know that's fun.
Cooperstown was a blast. I don't remember it, but I think we were the number 2 seed in the tournament. 2. So
I do remember that.
We were, expecting to win it all. We were out there. Our team was pretty solid, so we were hitting home runs on the 180-foot fields with the DeMarini drop 5s.
What was the greens then? Was that a thing then?
I think it was the gray and yellow DeMarinis. Yeah. I don't really remember. Not really big into hitting anyway. So, but that was a blast. We stayed in these bunk beds with the team and the coaches. I think we had one day where we went and
you guys go with came to the house.
Family, yeah. Our parents shared a house. We had that little lake.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun, yeah. And then, we'd walk up the hill for breakfast every morning together.
Sweet.
Lunch and dinner there's a big hill you walked up.
Nice.
Every morning. And I think we lost to some team from Michigan, which is cool. You're playing when you're at Cooperstown.
I do remember that game.
Yeah, we're playing with. You're gonna play pretty much the same teams, especially at the younger age when you're 11 and 12. You're gonna play your teams from Florida, your teams from Georgia. There's not gonna be teams from around the country or right there. But in Cooperstown, we played a team from Michigan for the only time I've ever played a team from Michigan. Then I think we played teams from New York too. So it was a little fun. Something that I remember it like it was yesterday.
That's awesome.
So,
wish I had that, but anyways, we'll go on a break and we'll come back with places to train in Jacksonville. We'll talk a little about the Jaguars, the LBC, and just some more things going around in Jacksonville. But anyways, we'll be back 3 minutes or so, but we'll be back soon. you guys are wanting to play at the next level or even go to another school, North Florida showcases the design for high school, junior college, and transfer portal baseball players who want to showcase their skills in front of college coaches. These events also provide the latest metrics including batting exit velocity, throwing velocity, 60-yard dash times, and more. They're dedicated to helping players become prospective student athletes at the next level. Make sure you guys go check them out on Instagram and X. North Florida Showcases. All right, we're back here from the break. We're gonna go over some places people train out here in Jacksonville. You got B3 off of Phillips Highway, the D1 training. I think that's a newer thing on Beach Boulevard. You got Cortex, Torque. You guys let us know where you train at. Tell us in the comment section where you guys train at, and tell us why. It's great to train there. So some people, the younger kids maybe watching, the parents are watching, wondering where their kids should train at. And I think B3 is a good one. There's a lot of people I know, some guys I've used to play with, and even now a lot of people do B3 stuff, and you can tell they get bigger, stronger, faster.
So when I was in ninth grade, I went to B3, but it wasn't called that then. It was called Boost, and I went there with your brother and a couple other kids from Trinity. We all went there. We trained for a whole summer and then halfway into the fall there, and I think I got a faster from it and stuff. I think it was very helpful with me growing. I think I was just like I haven't matured yet then.
Yeah.
So it was I didn't see as much growth as some other people did, but what are your thoughts on training in that type of environment where you're getting pushed, you're with a bunch of guys who obviously have a good work ethic and they're wanting to get better, and training by yourself, look the pros and cons of each?
Training with some of your buddies, I think that gives you motivation. If they're lifting strong, you want to lift strong, you want to get in there, do the same weight and stuff like that. You can also have fun. When you're not working out, you're waiting on someone to get done with their lift. You can have fun while you're doing it, and it's just a lot of motivation involved. As for like working out by yourself, you can sit down a lot, have a lot of rest time, get on your phone, that's a big problem that you see now. But I think I'd rather work out, with a group of guys, group of my buddies. Just you can all motivate each other.
I always liked working out by myself a little bit more, just depending on what we were doing. When I was in a group, because most of the times when I worked out in a group was in the school weight room in our just our hour that we had to work out during the day. Just because I could find myself goofing off kind of when I'm with my friends, and like I really wouldn't ever lock in until I was like by myself, because I'm fortunate enough to have a weight bench at my house and some dumbbells, so I can do some exercises at home, and I feel like I'd put more time in by myself. Yes, I would sometimes take a 15-minute break and sit on my phone and just get trapped in TikTok maybe, or
sidetracked.
stuff like that. But I think I spent more efficient time maybe, or effective time working out at home, because I wasn't forced to do a certain workout maybe that we had to do at school. I didn't have someone watching over me like I have to do this or that, and I kind of just felt more free. But then also I did have those moments when I'm working out with a buddy at school, and we're like pushing ourselves to go harder and harder, and
that's what
it makes you want to get better, because you want. I mean, guys are competitive.
Yeah.
And when you're out there, you're pushing your hardest. Everyone wants to be like the top. Like you want to bench the strongest on your team or something like that, or run the fastest or something, because you're competitive and you're an athlete.
For sure.
So things like that are helpful when you're working out with a group of guys.
I think like when you're doing speed and agility, trying to get faster, stuff like that, you want to have a group.
Of course.
All those are timed. You want to beat everyone's time, and I think for me, I would rather work out with a group of buddies, guys that are bigger, stronger, faster, and everything than me, just so it can push me to do more and some things like that.
When we at Trinity, I know you didn't have to take part in this because we stopped doing it when you got there, but we had a week or two in the beginning of the season, or in like the spring, right when we came back from Christmas break and everything, where we did like a hell week or whatever, and I would enjoy it, and a couple of my friends would enjoy it, because we said like controlled chaos is like, it's not really that bad when you're sharing misery with other people.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun almost, because you see some people are throwing up or whatever. It gives you a good chuckle when you're taking a break and stuff. So
Yeah, same over at St. John's. The St. John's kids that are listening right now. We call it the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
It's I think it was on Wednesday. Um, but the whole week we had games. I think Monday was like tug of war.
Yeah.
And then a relay race with like med balls and stuff. Forgot Tuesday was a scavenger hunt around the whole school,
Mm-hmm.
and then Wednesday we did the Gauntlet, which is like 30 to 40 minutes straight running exercises around the school. And you got two teams. It's like a Carolina Navy team.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just competing points for the week. And then we all finish it out on a Friday night at Coach's house. Steaks. Winners get steaks and losers get hot dogs, which is always fun. Team
That's
bonding
fun.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But anyways, and then on that Thursday, I believe we did ultimate frisbee. You usually used to do that
Yeah,
over
we used
there.
to do that too. Yeah.
But it's fun. Even the gauntlet's like 30, 40 minutes long of straight running.
And it
And
doesn't.
you're by yourself the whole time, but it's fun. You're with your group. I just remember there was like 3 kids left, and everyone's just watching, and it's like a race. And then it ended up being 1 versus 1. One guy in Carolina, one guy in Navy, just at the same spot, and then it was awesome. We were all just yelling, pushing them to do better, and it was fun. And even the losers will even say it's fun.
Yeah, I think also it's just like bonding, especially when you're like everyone's putting in effort. If everyone's really giving their best, like when you're doing something like that, I think the bond that comes from it is just helps with the team
For sure.
chemistry a little bit.
For sure, and all that running stuff isn't going to help you as a baseball player. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not. It's going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you, you know, just the things outside of baseball. It's going to help you, team bonding, like you said. That's a big thing. And there in high school baseball, have a team bonding with those guys every day.
Your mental side,
mental side of it,
not giving up,
yeah,
pushing yourself, finding the extra gear. Yeah,
for sure.
baseball's not really the endurance sport where you need to be.
Yeah.
Maybe if you hit a ball in the gap and you
Most
have to,
running you do is base running.
Yeah, you hit a triple or something, but you do have some time
base running
to catch your breath in between pitches, in between at bats, in between outs in the field. So.
Yep. Base running can determine a game.
Yeah,
base running is
definitely
really important, and I think it's important for every team. To practice base running, you could get thrown out in second to third. That could have been your only run of the game potentially, and that I don't know. Base run's really important in baseball.
Always, I think everyone can say they've lost games because of bad base running. Getting picked off is terrible way to get out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, we'll talk a little about the local baseball classic. You're there in June. It's the All-Star. Can't really call it an All-Star game that we ran there in June. We decided to call it the local baseball classic. It was at Trinity Christian. I think it was like a 6:37 p.m. game.
Yeah.
Maybe a little earlier.
I think it was a little earlier.
But we had guys from St. John's, Trinity, Bowles, Oakleaf, UC, Ponte Vedra, Yulee, those schools, Baldwin, Bishop Snyder. It's cool just to see those guys, get together. They were competing against each other all year. They're all competing for a state championship. Probably some trash talk from dugout to dugout, but they were all in the same field. I think it was pretty awesome to see everyone getting along.
Yeah.
Everyone being buddies. You were there. You're filming it. What was your thoughts?
I think it was awesome that you put something like that together because there's really not anything like that going on in Jacksonville, and this city has so many schools. There's so many players out there. There's so many good players
that would know about.
Yeah, that would even compete in something like this, and just getting like the best of the best to come together, put on a little show. People might not be trying maybe their hardest.
Yeah.
Because it is a game that means nothing in the end, but it's fun that also there's 2 teams. They're all the 40 of the best players in the school, 20 on each side. And when they're going out there and they want to be able to have an edge on someone else, say we won this team, the East or the West, or I don't forget what you had the teams.
Blue and red.
Blue and red, yeah. I don't know where I got that from, but the blue and the red, like they could say they're better. So that a little thing to mess around.
It was fun, and shout out to Baker Sporting Goods. They gave us those shirts, the jerseys for everyone on the team. A little bit of a late notice. What we did was, there's every pitcher threw 1 inning. I think there was 1 or 2 pitchers that pitched over 1 inning just because some guys couldn't make it last minute. Pitchers pitched 1 inning. It's cool to see. They get all they get is 3 outs because they're in summer ball. You know, they have a lot of stuff going on their arm just getting off the high school season. So I just thought about, every pitcher does a 1 inning, and then yeah, it was awesome. And then the first 10 guys I think played the first 4 or 5 innings, and then we switched the whole lineup on both teams for the last 4 innings. It was a 9 inning game. We had some umpires out there, photographers, filmers, broadcasters. I mean, it was cool, and I think we can do a better job this year, just because we know how it works.
Yeah, it was the first
and
time.
What comes into it. But I think we'll be posting out a link in a few months on the story about who can sign up. We're still trying to figure out everything and stuff like that. But yeah, how it kind of came up was my buddy Levi Sawyer messaged me on Instagram and was like, kind of gave me the idea, and I was like, yeah, that's actually a great idea. And I was like, I can run this stuff. So, this was in a 2 week notice we put all this together.
That's crazy.
And I was actually gone in Atlanta in a travel ball tournament. Probably stayed up till like 2 or 3 a.m. every night with 8 a.m. games and stuff, getting this ready, texting all the athletes, making graphics and stuff like that. I mean, it's fun.
It really was something cool though.
It was
to see something like. I mean, a lot of people were like, think it's something cool that you did, and if it continues to happen, like you're planning on doing it, I think it's something really cool. It should just bring more and more attention to high school baseball,
for sure,
high school sports in general, and I'm hoping that maybe this creates an alley for either you or someone else to do this in other sports where you could have a softball game or maybe a high school basketball game. I think that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Football's a little harder, maybe because I don't know, maybe the time they would do it would be
in the fall, and then
because they don't really. I mean, they play football in the fall and then they start spring football with the school. It's like the only sport I would say that like you're actually practicing with the school. The whole time. I know. I mean, high school baseball practices in the fall, but it's still possible.
It's more like travel.
Yeah.
Almost. Still fun.
It's not. I guess it's not technical like practice. I guess some schools probably don't do practice at a lot of schools. They do some sort of something.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest thing was, I got home after I finished cleaning up the whole field and everything, and I just sat on the couch, and I was just listening to myself on the news. The news was there, Action Sports Jacks. I think that was pretty cool, just to watching them talk about the game, mention my name on there. I thought that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little about the Jaguars. There's some things that happened since the last time we recorded. I think we recorded. We finished the recording and we found out Trent Baalke was fired.
Yeah, that was good news for Jacksonville.
What are your thoughts on that? You think he should have been fired? And did you like the guy?
I mean, I don't have a problem with the guy, but I would say he didn't really perform his job too well. I think I've seen something on Instagram that however many coaches he's had, like 2 of the like 4 or some like coaches that he's hired in his time as a GM, not just with Jacksonville, but also I think with San Francisco maybe, or he was somewhere else too. I'm not too sure about it, but he had 2 of the 4 coaches that he had hired were one and done coaches. So that
tells you something there.
That's a big job to hire someone as head coach. If you're hiring people who can't perform the job well, you're not going to have a successful team. So I think getting him out was it was just something that needed to happen. He was deterring other coaches away. I mean, we possibly could have had the top coach,
Ben Johnson,
on the market that people were thinking he's the guy that everyone wants. Who knows if he was thinking about Jacksonville really, but if he was, I'm sure Trent Baalke got him, led him in the other direction. But, because we know that we have a new head coach now, Liam Cohen, and we know that we're pretty sure that Baalke being fired is the reason that he decided to come back. So
because he already agreed to a deal with the Buccaneers.
He was like one of the highest paid
offensive coordinators.
Yeah. So I mean, he was set. He was good, and then
Trent Baalke's gone. He's with us now.
Now he has the opportunity to be a coach. It's great for us. I think he's a good offensive minded guy, which I think we need, someone who can maybe bring life to an offense that has been struggling the past couple of years. Something that, I mean, we have the weapons you might think, but Trevor Lawrence is someone who has a strong arm.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas was amazing last year. We have guys who have been good. I mean, Christian Kirk has been good when he's healthy. He's put up good numbers. Evan Ingram has been really good when he's healthy.
They just haven't played a full season yet.
Yeah,
the Jaguars.
There's been some struggled in the past 2 years. Kirk's been hurt, and then Ingram got hurt this last year. I know that 2 years ago he had a really good year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then ETN, I mean, his rookie year he was hurt, but the first year he played,
it was good. He had a good year.
He was good. Everyone
Yeah.
was thinking he's going to be the back that'll be here for a while. He kind of seen him struggle a little bit. Bigsby was solid, I think. I think he
Yeah.
was the better out of the two.
It was good last year. Yeah.
But maybe. Liam Cohen is the leading stat holder for University of Massachusetts, UMass.
Is he really?
For quarterback for like every stat.
Is he really?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I
Hopefully he can bring something like that to Trevor.
Yeah.
Trevor hit the record books or something.
Some things on Liam Cohen. I don't know much about him as a coach.
Yeah.
You did mention, I didn't know he's an offense coordinator. He did do a great job over there at the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing him, with the players, with the Jaguars or people posting on social media, just seeing him talk to the players. I feel like, he's the young coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think you want a young guy now.
Yeah, for sure.
You told me yesterday when we were going over this, why do you think it is good to have a young coach, in the league?
I think being able to relate to the players a little bit more, like there's nothing bad against Doug, but I mean Doug's he's older. You can see he's older. He's not growing up in a time where like certain ideas, even like things like that are not related to football, where Doug probably isn't relating to Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, stuff like people like that. He's not going to be able to relate to them on a more personal level than a guy like Liam Cohen who's grown up a little younger and in this era, and his mindset is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Even like practice, we were talking about like the difference of how an older minded coach or someone who just grew up in a different time, their structure of practice, their thoughts on practice, the drills, the routines, everything they're gonna do is gonna be doing. It's probably gonna have a little more structure. It's gonna feel like you're not really there having fun. And we can see that in a lot of the NFL coaches, like the teams that are fun to watch. These teams that are like up and coming, they got younger players. They have younger coaches, like Green Bay. The Vikings coach is pretty young. He's new. Mike McDaniel's with the Dolphins. These teams with the younger coaches.
Dan Campbell's kind of younger as well.
Yeah,
I mean, in his 50s probably.
Yeah, he's not too old for a coach, but these teams with the younger coaches, they're more exciting to watch. Yeah. I think they draw more attention to them, the schemes and everything. I think it's just overall better to have a new generation of minds come into the game.
Yeah. I think also on Liam Cohen, I think he's the type of guy to be your best friend, to be your good buddy outside of football. Make jokes with you, just have fun with you. But I think when you get the practice, when you get the game time, he's gonna be a serious coach, get after it. I think he's that type of coach, have fun outside of football. But once you're practicing, I think he's gonna be pretty serious. I hope he's pretty serious. Hope all the Jags fans are praying. They're praying for Liam Cohen. But
I know
something that's going on. And Liam Cohen.
To get it.
We're gonna have to do the Duval.
Let me hear everyone see it.
Let me hear your best impression of Liam Cohen Duval.
I'm gonna try and get the eyebrow and everything. I'll look into the camera.
Let me see it.
Be like, Jacksonville, the community, Duval.
That's a good one. That sounded just like him, bro.
That's how I try.
I'm just gonna say Duval and he do that other stuff.
Let's see it. Now you gotta get a go at it.
Jacksonville, community, Duval.
He did get another Duval.
He did. It was good.
It was better.
I didn't watch the full interview when he did that.
I didn't either.
What was the whole reason? I don't know. Maybe to hype people up and didn't really.
I think that too much. I think most people know that Duval is something that Jacksonville says. And the new coach is they're gonna ask him at the presser.
At least do some research on it.
Yeah.
If they do it. I don't know.
They those interviews and stuff when those press conferences. They always ask the questions that don't really matter. I mean, someone probably told him give yourself the best Duval or something. Yeah. What do you think about Duval? And so he just kind of did it.
I gotta watch that.
Wasn't the best showing of Liam Cohen, our first thoughts of him. No.
I think I see every meme on Instagram, TikTok. It's like, Jacksonville's going 0 for 17 again this year.
I just want to let people know we hit that with about 97% accuracy. There.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good.
100%. All right, let's talk about the Jaguars. What position does the Jaguars need? What do they need to improve on? And we got that 5th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need for the Jaguars?
So if I was the GM, what I would do is take a look at the team. I think the worst performing areas last year were the secondary and then probably the offensive line. I think run defense isn't too bad. I think the passing game or run game wasn't great, but we also didn't have a healthy team all year. So I would try and look, and it's just going to depend what direction we take in free agency before the draft. I hope that we can get someone in the secondary. It would be nice. I don't think our safeties are doing too well.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
was I was pretty high on Andre
Andre
Cisco,
Cisco, he didn't have
but
a great year
no,
though.
he didn't. And then he's been hurt. I feel like too. He gets hurt pretty
Yeah.
easily. And then we signed Darnell Savage, which I feel like he just didn't really do any much either. If Tyson Campbell plays at the level that he's shown to play, he's a pretty solid
Yeah.
player. But I think with the fifth pick, I think the best direction is to go to Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan. I just think maybe drafting a guy at these like skill position that could have a chance to develop into a Jalen Ramsey type player. Maybe not like to that level, but like a really good cornerback that could be here for a decent amount of years.
Yeah.
And hope to maybe build a defense like we kind of had in that Saxonville era.
Yeah, that was
when
fun.
we made
2017.
Yeah, because we had a really good defensive line, which
Yeah,
I think
did.
Campbell and not Campbell,
It
Walker.
was Campbell.
Yeah, I was thinking of Clay's Campbell, but then I'm trying to talk about the
okay.
new guy. Yeah, Walker,
Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen.
I mean, those guys are putting up 10 sack years back to back. That's a good core to have. Not a lot of teams can say that. If we can just maybe add maybe a defensive lineman, like the interior defensive lineman as a free agent, and then I would go with Will Johnson as that first pick, and then from there I would focus on offensive line. I think we need.
Yeah, because maybe another big wide receiver.
Yeah, that would be nice too.
I saw on Twitter, just scrolling on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. T. Higgins, he's up for a free agent. He's a free agent this year, and hopefully.
Don't get me excited.
That'd be awesome. Jaguars got T. Higgins, Brian Thompson Jr. I think we'd have a good year, maybe.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot. It's so early for football, especially with the Super Bowl on over. There's not going to be really any free agent moves. I'm wondering if we trade some of the guys who are holding up like salary cap, who we could get rid of to increase some salary cap. I would like to see Gabe Davis go. I don't think he's too solid, especially if we have an ability to add someone like T. Higgins. Just get rid of Gabe.
Yeah.
If we could have, how awesome would it be to have like Brian Thomas, T. Higgins, Kirk inside on the slot, Evan Ingram. I mean, that's a good bunch of weapons.
With Liam Cohen as the head coach, good offensive mind.
Parker Washington's not too bad as a fourth option, and then maybe like in the fourth round or something, you try and steal a receiver from the draft that you think has a chance of developing into something. But it should be interesting.
We need an O-line though.
We do.
We need to protect Trevor. We need Trevor. Throw those good passes.
I think that
he can do
running the ball. I just feel like the whole offensive line.
We need a whole new line.
Our better offensive linemen are older too. Like Sheriff is going to be gone in the next couple of years. We're gonna have to find a replacement for him. We let go of Cam Robinson, which I know.
What's that new guy we got last year? He's a tackle.
Is it either Anton Harrison or Walker Little?
Mine Anton Harrison.
Or we got a guard, Ezra Cleveland. I don't know who you're.
I think it's Anton Harrison.
Yeah, he was a rookie last year, so he could be something we don't know. I think there's just a lot of areas to improve on when you have what did we win, 4 or 5 wins? If you're the 5th overall pick, you got a lot to improve on.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, you brought up the Super Bowl a few minutes ago. Who do you got? Chiefs, Eagles. Chiefs coming in for a 3-peat.
My gosh, I would love to see them lose.
Yeah,
I think everyone would. I mean, Mahomes is just unbeatable.
I mean,
if I had to bet,
the new Tom Brady.
If I had to bet, if you place the bet right now, $100 straight up, you're gonna win $200. Even bet. Who are you gonna bet on?
Chiefs. I bet on the Chiefs.
I would too.
Why not? This will be the 3rd year.
Even if it's scripted.
I think this is the first time a team would won 3 years in a row. I don't even think Tom Brady and the Patriots did it.
I mean, there's players on the Chiefs team that have never lost a playoff game. They've been with them since that Super Bowl they won their first Super Bowl in this run. They would have never lost a playoff game. The 2nd Super Bowl and then now this 3rd one. So
I want the Eagles to win.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
Hopefully Saquon rushes for like 250.
Yeah. We'll see. Where's the game at? Do you remember?
I want to say it's Las Vegas. That sounds right.
I have no idea.
But I don't have a clue. It could be anywhere.
Yeah, it could be anywhere.
Maybe it's New Orleans. I feel like it's New Orleans.
I feel like I heard New Orleans too because the National Championship was there.
Yeah, and
SEC Championship was there.
No. The one with Georgia and Notre Dame. It was like one of the college playoff games was there. And then I remembered seeing the Super Bowl. I was like,
I remember I seen that too.
Why wouldn't the person, which is an awful thing, like the attack if you were like the Super Bowl was a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
It would have like there have been more people there.
Yeah,
or something, but I don't know if it was Mardi Gras or whatever was going on. Who knows?
Anyways, we'll go on a break. We'll be joining here with Julian Gonzalez, talk about his coaching career and some of his hitting mindset. We'll just talk to him. We'll be back. We'll be joining in with him. If you guys are wanting to play at the next level or even go to another school, North Florida showcases the design for high school, junior college, and transfer portal baseball players who want to showcase their skills in front of college coaches. These events also provide the latest metrics including batting exit velocity, throwing velocity, 60-yard dash times, and more. They're dedicated to helping players become prospective student athletes at the next level. Make sure you guys go check them out on Instagram and X. North Florida Showcases. All right, we're back. We're joining here with Julian Gonzalez. He's going to be the head coach somewhere in the Twins organization. Tell us more about that. How are you doing today, Coach?
Doing well, man. Good to be back. It's been a couple of years. Nice to see Gage is added on here now.
Yep, added to the team. You actually coached both of us at Trinity.
Yep.
You coached him in travel ball and high school. You also coached, I think you just coached varsity when you were there at Trinity, but you're still with everybody, the middle school, JV. But you also coached, our travel ball team. Was it Florida Burn NBA? What was it then?
Titans.
It Titans? Titans before Florida Burn.
Titans first, and then moved over to the Burn after that.
Sweet. How's life been? What are you doing now? How's the hitting lessons going? And
yeah, so not with the Orioles anymore since last time I was on here. Just decided to move on and try to get another opportunity elsewhere and hopefully move up to a higher level, which I have gotten this offseason. So I'll be with the Twins in the minors still, and I'll be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So I'll be in high A. I'll be the assistant hitting coach basically. So title's hitting and development coach, and I'll be helping out with the outfielders as well and base running stuff while coaching first base now during the games.
Sweet. The last time we talked, you were in the DSL?
Yep.
Dominican Summer League with the Orioles. I think you were there for 2 years and maybe Sarasota for another 2 years. Kind of talk about how you got that job, why you wanted to work in an organization like that. Just tell us a little about that and how you got that job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so got the job through Twitter. Just had posted when I was coaching you guys. I would post our hitting sessions or our training environments during practice, and then in 2021, the director, now vice president of player development for the O's, had reached out to me on Twitter and asked if I was interested in pro ball, and something that I had a desire for a while. So decided to go down that route, and then they had offered the DSL, so I went down there for my first 2 summers, like you said, Chan, and then from there, this past season, got the opportunity to move up and be stateside down in Sarasota in the FCL in the Florida Complex League. But yeah.
Sweet. You had a game there in this, what was it, the fall or summer, and I was playing in Fort Myers down there at the Red Sox Stadium, and came there and watched an inning or so, talked to you. That was pretty cool to see you in the gear, coaching them like that. Coming in from, you coached at Trinity for that 1 year. I think maybe was it COVID year.
Yeah, it was like 2 years. I want to say, a year and a half, 2 years.
Gotcha. So, what was kind of the switch from you go high schoolers, to the Dominican Summer League? The Dominican Summer League, they were a little on the younger side. Just what was the difference, switching from high school to the Dominican Summer League?
Yeah, at first I thought that there was going to be a huge difference, and honestly, like, those kids are about the same as high schoolers. They're signing at 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, sometimes by the time they start the season, might be 17 already. You'll get the few actual 16-year-olds, but it's the same as you guys. So they're probably like sophomores to maybe like freshmen in college. Had some 19-year-olds, some 20-year-olds. But like I told a lot of people when I came back after my first year, it was not a big difference. Like, they're still kids at the end of the day, even though they're international, they're Latin kids. Like, there's still times where they're just going in their own ways or don't want to do certain things or might be a little lackadaisical with certain things. But then you get the kids, obviously, that they signed and they want to be big leaguers and they're actually working hard to get out of the DSL. So most of the time, if you stayed down there for more than 2 years, you for sure down there for 3 years, there's not a good chance that you're going to move up. So, but yeah, I'd compare it the same as high school kids. You got your kids who want it bad and do the work, and then there's kids who say they want it bad but don't really work that hard.
For sure.
So yeah, so it wasn't much of a difference as I thought there was going to be for sure.
I was taking a little step back. You started off at UNF softball. You were coached there, and then actually me and Mark Spencer were talking about yesterday. You coming on the show, you did a little something. I think it was the data cage or something along those lines. Kind of talk about that and how why'd you switch softball to baseball? What was kind of the mindset there for you to switch?
Yeah, so the data cage came about. Man, it's been a while now. I feel like 2018 maybe. I had come back from international trip with my college ministry, and I didn't have like a job lined up, so had reached out, and somehow Mark and I don't even remember how it was. Mark and I got in contact, and yeah, the Daddy Cage was a little facility that him, myself, and then Tim Gibbons, who was with the Orioles as well after he left the Daddy Cage, was at. And it was a great time. I think that really helped me a lot in my coaching growth and me just learning and really getting into the weeds of just how I train guys now in the off season and how I trained you guys. And then, going to the softball side of things, I was at UNF, like you said.
Yeah.
At this point, if you had asked me where I'd be right now, I thought I would be coaching college softball still, just because at that point back in like 2018, 2019, there wasn't guys like myself who didn't play college baseball, let alone professional baseball, who were coaching in professional baseball. So softball, there was a lot of men that had baseball backgrounds. So I thought that was the route I was going to go. And then once I headed over to you guys, at that point, baseball was starting to shift, like in 2019, where they were hiring guys like myself who didn't have college or pro ball experience, but we're just looking for guys that were willing to learn and try different things and had different environments that were going to help players get better.
For sure.
Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but I actually went to the data cage before I knew you with Tim, and I hit with Dawson there, former Trinity player. We used to go hit with Tim there for a couple times before we met each other.
That's wild. No, I had no idea.
But I don't remember ever seeing you. But
no, it might have been. Was it at a gym though?
It was in like a shopping complex area. I don't remember. It was off some road.
So it probably was that. It might have been just before I got there. That's wild.
Maybe. It was like there was kind of there was like other people working out there. Was that where? Okay. Yeah. So it switched after that.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So I went there before you then, but I'm curious to know. Back when we were in high school and you were coaching with us, you were kind of a big mentor to a lot of kids. I know I still reach out to you sometimes when I need advice or ask questions, and I'm sure other people do. But I'm curious how, like, you still control that aspect of it in the mental side of things, moving on to higher levels of baseball.
Yeah, I think it might be cliche, but I think it's the most important part of it, right? Like, I'm here in your guys' podcast, and I haven't coached at Trinity since fall of 2021. Chan, I coached you at 13U travel ball, right? And I got to coach you my first year at Trinity going into that summer with FTB. And I think the most important part is like me, and I hope I did a good job of it, obviously, because I'm here with you guys, but just being intentional, right? Like asking how life is, asking how your family is, siblings, how they're doing, how life's going outside of baseball. At the end of the day, like, Gage, you're done playing baseball. Chan, you're still playing. Hopefully you get to play at the college level, but it's going to end one day. So hopefully I'm able to impact your guys' lives and reach out once again, like I said, and just ask how life's going. And you guys see that, oh man, Coach Julian cared. Like he cared about us, and it wasn't just about baseball or if we were getting better at baseball, or he was using us just to get somewhere, get to pro ball. So I hope that I was able to make that impact. And once again, I'm here with you guys, so I'm assuming that I made a good enough impact. And you guys, always, like you said, it's awesome whenever you guys reach out to me. Like Noah's coaching now at Trinity again, and another guy that reaches out a lot, like Isaac Newman's at FSCJ, and we text regularly. So it's cool, and it means a lot when not only I reach out to you guys, but when you guys reach out to me as well. So very thankful for just the relationships that I made with you guys, and once again, past baseball, because it's going to end one day for all of us.
For sure.
And another thing that you were big on back when you coached was like the mental approach to baseball. I know you kind of brought that up a little bit, but like taking away the negativity with the sport. So when you're having bad days and stuff, you were very helpful with people who would like get upset and maybe get a little angry and show it a lot. And I know that you were like hitting, you can't really control a lot of it. You used to preach that to us. I know it's a little bit different on the mound because you're more in control of the situation. You're not getting as many opportunities as a hitter who's going to get 4 or 5 at bats every game. So like, what are the things that you're reminding players to think about maybe when they're struggling?
Yeah, it's a great question. I know that one thing that I was going to recommend you guys is like certain books to read that I thought would be impactful, bigger things that I was able to tell you guys, and you guys actually read it. Like the Inner Game of Tennis was really good, one of the mental keys to hitting. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things is like reminding yourself, like you said, Gaze, that you can't control so much as a hitter. Like go up there, hopefully with your approach and your game plan on what you're trying to do. But past that, like you can do it to a T and still strike out or fly out or hit the hardest ball you have and still get out, and you can't control that end of the day. But I think it's just having those things in your mind and in your head, and then mentally, just like in the box, just like having those external thoughts and not internally. Once we get mechanical as hitters and we're thinking very internally now, just start going down rabbit holes. And a dude, whether you're in high school, pro ball, wherever you're at, is throwing upper eights or low nines, or in pro ball throwing mid nines, upper nines, and now you're thinking all this mechanical stuff or mentally thinking about how you've sucked recently, and then it's just not going to be beneficial. So I think it just takes a lot of time and training with the mental side of things, and like you said, just like the positive talk to yourself is very huge in the game. And I think talking to a lot of you guys, it transfers into the real world as well in your life, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's just as work or career wise or school, and just all the mental side that you learn from baseball, I think transfers and is very applicable to real life as well.
For sure. I think before I didn't really know you before, you were my coach, but I don't think I ever thought of, the mental side of hitting and stuff like that. And ever since you were my coach, it is a big thing. You strike out 3 times, you're not really going to have, confident to go up there again. And I think the mental side is really important. People should focus on the mental side because once you don't have the right attitude, it's going to be hard to get the attitude back up and running.
I still have that book too. The
Do you?
mental ABCs of pitching you gave me.
Oh, yeah?
I still have that. I think it's probably half of the game out there is just the mental side, especially with baseball. It's a big thinking game. You have a lot of time to think about things
So much
before the pitcher steps back on the mound or before you get back in the box. Even just base running, sitting there thinking about your at bat that you had or something. So it really can make a big impact on the game itself.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. I think so much of like with hitters is like, hey, as a pitcher, you're just pitching. For the most part in high school, you have your two ways. But as a hitter, you strike out and you go 0 for 3, and now you're going to defense. And if you let that transfer over to the defensive side, like you can change the game in a good or a bad way, right? So you can either change the game and make that game-winning play and get the runner out at first or diving out, whatever it is, or you can be so just domed up for your last strikeout in the last inning, and then you make an error, and then you guys lose the game for it. But yeah, you nailed it, Gaze. Like it's so big on the hitting side because now you have to go, whether it's base run, and now you're losing focus because you're mad, or you go to defense and you're out of it.
All you're thinking about is like what's going on, like why can't I hit and that stuff. It's
correct.
When you're a hitter, I know you're the hitting coach. What should be the hitter's approach? You're not sure what the pitcher's going to throw. Should you be sitting a certain pitch? Should you just be looking out for a certain pitch? What should be the hitter's approach? Coming into the box.
Oh man, this is something that I've enjoyed a lot. I've had this conversation with a couple people. It's something I've enjoyed a lot with pro ball, just having more access to numbers and just pitchers' movements and all that, like having it there at my fingertips, literally to show hitters. So I think like talking in the high school sense, like once again, I think Murph has done with you guys and continues to do a good job of Twitter has so much access to pitchers, and you can just see what they're throwing. Might not have their spin rate or their movement, how it's going, but at least see their velocity. And hopefully through the video get a glimpse of if he's cutting the ball, if it's sinking, if it's running. It's got some ride or hop. But I think the easiest approach at the box for a high school hitter is like, hey, I'm just gonna look middle, and that's where I'm looking for a pitch. And one thing that like I've learned is just like, hey, I want a pitch to start in a certain area to end somewhere instead of like going up there as a high school hitter where I'm just like, I'm just looking for a fastball. And it's like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And there's some high school hitters that can get away with that.
Yeah.
But trying to have at least an approach of, hey, I want a pitch in this area of the zone to end somewhere else and not necessarily just look for any heater because now I might start chasing at a bunch of pitches. But yeah, for high school, I think it's a little more difficult for sure to be up there with a certain approach.
Yeah.
And then just like thinking of a game plan, like, hey, like as the game goes on, like, hey, this pitcher might be getting a lot of ground balls right now on certain pitches. Like, hey, now we got to try to hit balls in the air more. Or, hey, this guy's getting a lot of swing and miss up in the zone. Like, hey, let's push him down some and let's hit some low line drives. But I think that's a huge part of the game and something that I challenged a lot of my kids before I'm about to leave tomorrow for spring training, but challenged a lot of my younger kids and even the high schoolers to like, if you're able to grasp even a little bit of that in high school and even at a younger age, like I think it's gonna make hitting a little bit easier because hitting is not easy and it never will be.
Yeah,
but I think
sure.
it'll make things a little bit easier um, in high school, travel ball, college, whatever it may be. But yeah.
Now, working with pro ball hitters, and then you still come back when you come back in town. You're still doing lessons with players now. What are some like drills I know that you like or dislike? I know that you were big on like mobility and flexibility. Used to work on like the water balls and stuff with us, and doing yoga. We used to do that too. What are some like things you say to stay away from in the cage, and some things you would encourage hitters to do more?
Yeah, I would. The biggest thing I would encourage, and like very thankful through Murph, Jonathan, his brother Daniel Murphy, played in the big leagues for 12 years, All Star, NLCS MVP, and I still get to pick his brain. And I'll text him, and I got to see him last week. And I think one thing that he always talks about, and talking with some other pro guys I hit with the off season, is just like seeing a lot of arm, like seeing as much pitching as you can. Like if you can't see live, like having your dad throw to you a lot. Like talking to Daniel and Jonathan, I was like, man, like your dad got two guys into pro ball. One played 12 years, and then got to work with Ben Gamble this past couple off seasons. And same thing, I'm like, hey, like what's something like once again he had his older brother make it to the big leagues as well, so it's like two brothers, and it's like there's no secret sauce, but like what do you think helped you guys? And the biggest thing is Daniel and Jonathan had their dad throw a lot of just arm BP to them. And then with the Gambles, like Ben told me that his grandpa would just throw to him a lot. So I think the more that hitters are able to see a moving baseball, the better. And I think that's why not just me and not just Murph, but other coaches in pro ball and college and the private sector aren't that big on the tee. And it's not bad. Like I don't think the tee is bad, but it's always like good, better, best. Like hitting off the tee is good, but what's better than that? At least having flips.
Yeah.
The best idea would be if you could see live at bats. But then like better than flips, like I used to throw darts to you guys, right? Like throwing from a knee or standing up from a short distance, or just moving back and having like competitive arm BP, I think would be the best thing to do as a hitter. And it's not something that you need to pay for. Like you can have your dad go out there or your friends or your teammates throw to each other. And then like I guess drills not to do. I don't know. Like I think everything to a degree can be beneficial for every hitter. But yeah, I think the best thing is just to like see as much arm as you can, see as much shapes as you can. If you have access to machines, or once again, if someone's throwing to you, or seeing angles, like simple things. You're only able to do flips. Being able to do flips from like the third and first base side. Like now I'm creating different angles. And being able to do that and create more game-like environments than just like doing a bunch of drills. Because drills might fix something for a little bit, but it's just going to be a band-aid for a little bit, a band-aid, and it's not going to be like a long-term thing that's going to help out, in my opinion.
Sure. How have you attained your knowledge, of hitting these past years? It's kind of a big switch from softball to baseball, from high school all the way up to, in the organization of the Orioles. How'd you obtain your knowledge, and how'd you just attain your knowledge?
Yeah, reading a lot when I was in high school for sure. I did not care about that because I felt like it was punishment to read. And then I think once I got to college and think most people would say this, like you kind of now get to choose what you want to do. And I know you're there now, Gaze, like in school and doing what you want to do and pursue that. And it's a little easier when you're in college now and you know this is the degree you want to do. And now as you're reading or even doing homework or doing projects, like you enjoy it a little bit more than high school because you chose that path. So I think when I got to college and I knew for sure that I wanted to coach, to what capacity I didn't know yet, but that I knew I wanted to coach, I just started going down rabbit holes. Like Twitter was huge for me, and just kind of finding people that whether I agreed with it or not at the time, but kind of got me to think outside the box. And then and then I just started reading a lot of books. Like talked about the inner game of tennis. Once I got down like the mental side of hitting things, once I got like down the rabbit hole of like biomechanics and movement, there was like the hitting biomechanics book that I read, which was very like beneficial. And like you brought up, Gage, just like did a lot of movement stuff with you guys back in the day, yoga, PVC stuff, and then now kind of like where I'm at hitting wise, just like I brought up with the environment stuff and like making it a little bit more game like and challenging. So like reading books that are middle more like constraints approach. So like making like, hey, I use like the short bat and the long bat and just constraining the hitters with different lengths of bats or different types of baseballs to challenge the hitter, and make the hitter kind of make the adjustment on the fly and not me having to preach, hey, you got to do this with your hand or that. But yeah, I think just reading a lot, Twitter, and then reaching out to people in different sports. I think this off season has been big, on Twitter, reaching out to some hockey coaches, some lacrosse coaches, some soccer coaches, and just picking their brains about how they train their guys and how they practice plan, has been huge in me this off season for my learning for sure.
Sweet. We're gonna wrap up here soon. Relationships. Let's talk about relationships. Is it important to create relationships, with your players? Some of the guys you're hitting with, doing hitting lessons. Do you think it's important to have those relationships with the players?
Yeah, 100%. Like we talked earlier, and then I think we talked about earlier how it leads into like outside of baseball once baseball's over. But I think in season it helps out a lot too, just to be able to build the trust. Like for me now getting into a new organization with the Twins, I think it's going to be huge. Like I could have all the answers in the world, but if I go in there right away and I tell this hitter, hey, you got to do this, this, and this, but I don't have a relationship with them, for the most part, some guys are just going to like be like, who the heck's this guy? Like he's new to our org. Like I don't know anything about him. But I think if I'm able to have a relationship with that person and I bring up, hey, I think we should try this, this, or this, now they might be more receptive, more open to try something. So I think it's huge because I know, end of the day, like we're not perfect and all of us have egos, myself included, and we might think we have all the answers. But if I don't have or we don't have a relationship with that player, then it's not going to be that easy. And I know it was a little difficult Murph and I's first year at Trinity. Murph and I love machines.
Yeah.
And we had pushed the machines.
Yeah, I'm not a big machine guy myself.
And we had pushed the machines, and a lot of the guys weren't used to it from beforehand, and a lot of guys just they didn't care for it, and it made it a little more difficult for sure those first couple years, first year and a half there at Trinity with that. So I think just being able to ease into things, having that relationship, like, hey guys, we're going to try this. You don't have to do it. I think just makes the process a little bit quicker instead of like shoving it down you guys' throats and then everybody's just like standoffish with it now and they're like, nah, this sucks. I don't want to do this. And now no one's buying in, and it just makes it so much more difficult for the culture of the team with the relationships and everything.
I just have one more question I want to ask you. So earlier in the show, we were talking a little bit about the difference between high school baseball and travel baseball and giving our thoughts about what the good and bad about each is. But what is most comparable to like pro level baseball? Is it more of like the travel ball like side of things, or the high school baseball?
That's a good question. I think it's a mix of both, just because like with travel baseball, you are trying to promote yourself to a degree, right? Like the goal with travel baseball is to get exposure, to get to college or pro ball, right, at a high school. And I think with pro ball at the lower levels, you're also trying to do that, right? You want to move up, so like you're kind of selfish to a degree because you want to do really good to move up. But then there is the aspect of high school, where high school is more team oriented, in my opinion, compared to travel ball. So you're trying to win states, you're trying to win a district championship, right? So it's more team oriented in high school or in travel ball to a degree, depending on the org. And your guys' travel team was a little different, even with you with FTB, where it was a little more family oriented because everybody was from the same area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a mixture of both for sure. And then I think I haven't been at that level yet, but then at the pro level, like you're trying to win a World Series, so it's a little more team oriented again.
As you go up, the higher you go up, the more team oriented it gets.
Exactly. But I think something that the O's did really well when I was there was just like the guys drafted together and they want to push each other. Knows is challenging each other, and I think that's why the O's have been so good development wise. Aside from all the really good coaches that they have there, was just those players cared about each other well, and they always competed against each other, and they try to bring each other together to move up together instead of just being very selfish and being like, oh, I just want to move up by myself. I don't care how so and so does. I just care if I do well so I can move up. This is something I've seen with the Twins. I mean, I was only able to be there for one camp, but it seems like these players that we just drafted, who were mostly the guys that were there at the last camp I went to, like played against each other in college, and now they're together, and now they like want to move up together and hopefully make it to the bigs here soon together.
Sweet. Getting a little past time here, but I got one more question. I know you're still involved with high school around here in Jacksonville. Kind of the big thing going around. The 3-game series now in regionals. Yep. Tell us a little about that, your thoughts on it, and what's it going to show in teams.
Yeah, I think it's cool to have that aspect of it now for players, like just be able to kind of, some guys aren't going to play past high school, so kind of get to experience the college, tournament style and slash like regional play of like 3-game series, and then playoffs, obviously 5 and 7-game series. So I think that's going to be really cool for players to be able to experience that. And then I think it's for sure going to help out teams that have the better pitching, because with the one and done, like anybody can get hot during the playoffs and make a run even if you don't have the pitching. You just get hot that night, whether the pitchers do well or the offense just gets really hot and gets going. So it's going to be beneficial for those teams that have those arms. So, I mean, obviously biased because I coached there, but Trinity is going to have a nice leg up with the arms that they have, and that's going to be very beneficial for them. So it'll be fun. It'll be cool to follow this season, not just Trinity, but the other schools, and see who's got the depth. Because if you don't, then it's going to be quick.
The game 3s and the regionals would be a lot. Like everyone's going to be tuned into them because it's going to be like now your third best starter is going to be on the mound. It's going to be hopefully like high scoring maybe, but it should be interesting.
Yes, it'll be very fun. Game 3 for sure.
We kind of talked about this the last episode. He has a game back to back one day, and then the next day, and then you got a break, then another day. But just in that break, it's not just going to be in a break. You're going to have a practice. There's going to be something between that break. I think if you get to a game 3, everyone's going to be tired. It's really going to show the team how they fight through those 7 innings. I think it's a pretty good idea FHSAA did.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
All right, that's Julian Gonzalez for you. ABR training on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, that's Julian Gonzalez. Appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate you guys.
Good luck tomorrow. Safe travels tomorrow down there in Sarasota, somewhere in spring training.
Appreciate it.
Good luck this year, and I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.